Welcome to the Tinfoil Rabbit Hole, the show that goes deeper than just the page one search results. I am your host, the White Rabbit. This show comes to you from deep down within our tinfoil rabbit hole. It's from there where we'll discuss the strange, the odd, the mysterious, and the unexplained. We'll explore every subject with its accepted definition and understanding, and dive deep into the interweb in search of alternative possibilities. So I invite you to put on your tinfoil hat and stay with me a while inside my tinfoil rabbit hole. Episode 7. I can hear it in the air. Radio waves permeate the atmosphere all around us. They are generally a type of electromagnetic radiation with wavelengths in the electromagnetic spectrum longer than infrared light. They have frequencies as high as 300 gigahertz and as low as 300 hertz. Like all other electromagnetic waves, radio waves travel at the speed of light in a vacuum. There are naturally occurring radio waves that can be produced by lightning or astronomical objects. Radio waves are generated artificially by transmitters and received by radio receivers using antennas. They are widely used in modern technology in fixed and mobile radio communication, broadcasting, radar and radio navigation systems, communication satellites, wireless computer networks, and many other applications. Different frequencies of radio waves have different propagation characteristics in the Earth's atmosphere. Long waves diffract around obstacles like mountains and follow the contour of the Earth. Short waves can reflect off the ionosphere and return to Earth on the horizon. These are called sky waves. According to Wikipedia, Giovanni Marconi is credited with inventing long-distance radio transmission and is known in the modern day as the inventor of radio. On December 12, 1902, the transmission from the Marconi station in Glace Bay, Nova Scotia, Canada, became the world's first radio message to cross the Atlantic from North America. Marconi is credited with building high-powered stations on both sides of the Atlantic to communicate with ships at sea. In 1904, Marconi established a commercial service to transmit nightly news summaries to subscribing ships, which could incorporate them into their onboard newspapers. A regular transatlantic radio telegraph service was finally begun in October of 1907 between Clifton, Ireland and Glace Bay. But the White Rabbit isn't here to be your history teacher. He's here to tell you some of the strangest and most puzzling mysteries are all around us right now, buzzing through the air right past us without us ever being aware of them. For years, the airwaves have been the carrier of bizarre signals, transmissions, and broadcasts that haunt and permeate our atmosphere, unbeknownst to all but the most intrepid radio enthusiasts, equipped and willing to hunt them down. There are transmissions that carry enigmatic messages that defy all attempts to understand them. Their origins are shrouded in secrecy and shadows. We don't know where they come from, who they are meant for, or what they are saying. They whirl all about us on their secretive agendas. It is some of these weird and bizarre, and in some cases mysterious, transmissions that seemingly come from nowhere that we will examine. So put on your tinfoil gear and let's go deep down into the tinfoil rabbit hole where those radio waves won't interfere with what the white rabbit is going to tell you. E07. Perhaps the most well-known mysterious radio transmission is an enigmatic and very persistent broadcast from Russia that has come to be known as Station UVB76. First recorded in 1982, it is surmised to have been around since perhaps the mid-70s and has continuously produced a wide range of odd and perplexing transmissions that continue to baffle to this day. For years, this elusive station transmitted a series of strange beats that repeated unabated. In 1992, it graduated to a signal consisting of an incessant, nasal buzzing noise, at times accompanied by an inexplicable tone, beeping, and other unidentifiable noises repeated approximately 21 to 34 times per minute on the frequency 4,625 kilohertz, and continuing for around a second each time, with the pitch and intensity sometimes fluctuating. This dominant and mysterious, non-stop buzzing drone overlaid across everything, which has earned the broadcast the nickname the Buzzer, and it is thought to be manually generated for some inscrutable reason we have yet to understand. Very rarely, this buzzing transmission has been punctuated by the sudden appearance of an almost ghostly Russian voice which blooms out of the cacophony of noise to eerily and clearly recite numbers and names before fading away back into the fray of sounds. The voice is presumed to be stating some sort of code, although no one has any idea of what it means. On occasion, the transmission has even mysteriously cut out entirely for no apparent reason, going silent, only to continue again hours or even days later as if nothing had happened. In 2010, after nearly 2 decades of this continuous, seemingly meaningless jumble of nonsensical noise and spooky voices, the station abruptly interrupted its usual broadcast to feature a snippet of Tchaikovsky's Swan Lake, which played clearly and lasted around 40 seconds before fading back into its usual chaotic buzzing and beeps. Not long after this musical transmission, the station began to once in a while intermittently feature various bangs, thumps, rustling, shuffling, and what appears to be the faint ghost of garbled, unintelligible conversations in the background, all which suggests that the microphone was switched on and picking up things live that were going on in the room around it. The location of the UVB76 signal was eventually determined by some intrepid urban explorers to be in the town of Pavarovo, and they even actually claimed to have found the very building from which the broadcast leapt out onto the airwaves. Yet when they entered the building, it was found to be Nothing but an abandoned husk, with no sign of what or who could have been sending the signal. Nevertheless, UVB-76 continued to drone on, sending its incomprehensible message out into the air. Only this time the source had seemingly been relocated. From there, it continued to dutifully and enigmatically carry out its shadowy purpose, never faltering or deviating from its continuous, mostly unchanging cycle, and gathering around itself a cadre of short-range radio enthusiasts who've constantly listened in and recorded its every move to this day. On September 7th, 2010, something weird happened when a male voice announced that the call sign was changing to Mikhail Dmitry Zenya Boris, or MDZHB, followed by some new numbers and codes that had not been heard before. Even now, no one has any idea of what UVB-76's purpose is, nor even where exactly it is being transmitted from. And Russia has always denied that it even exists at all. It still pierces out over the airwaves, ever fulfilling its unknowable duty and sending its dark, enigmatic message out into the ether for those with the means and the will to listen to and ponder, perhaps until the end of time. The infamous signal has been theorized to be many things, including a secret code, a military emergency channel, or even a so-called dead hand system, meaning a last resort fail-safe measure in which a nuclear retaliatory strike would be launched in the event that the signal was ever cut off due to a catastrophic war. UVB-76 is what is called a number station. A number station is an unregistered, illegal radio broadcast set to a specific frequency that is designed to transmit secret information to spies or other operatives in the field through sophisticated codes and utilizing everything from voices, buzzes, beeps, clicks, and other noises to Morse code, sound clips from TV programs or movies, and music. It may appear that it is all just noise and nonsense, but to a spy in the field, it all makes perfect sense, and the transmitted codes are highly encrypted and are for the most part unbreakable. Number stations are shrouded in mystery that even governments don't acknowledge that they exist at all. The Lincolnshire poacher. Russia would not be the only one to make use of these elusive number stations, and indeed they are blamed for being the source of a wide variety of strange transmissions in far-flung countries. The Lincolnshire poacher broadcast into the airwaves from Cyprus and has gathered just about as much attention and fame as its cousin, UVB-76. Its transmission started in the 1970s and utilizes some bars from the Old English folk song of the same name as an interval signal, which is followed by an electronically synthesized female voice with a British accent reading off a series of numbers and putting stress on the last word. The station uses an extremely sophisticated code which can be broken down into about 200 different parts, each one of which was repeated every day, and it has never been decoded. The Lincolnshire poacher is notable for its powerful, clear reception and its uninterrupted, unwavering consistency and precise schedule for decades. It is believed that this transmission originated from a British Royal Air Force base located in Cyprus and was operated by the British Secret Intelligence Service. But since it ceased in 2008, we will probably never know who transmitted it or what meaning it held, if any. The Backwards Music Station. England itself is also host to a rather bizarre station, thought to possibly be a number station, simply called the Backwards Music Station, or Whale Song. You may think that the name pretty much describes what can be heard in the broadcasts, and while some have reported that this is what it sounds like to them, in reality, it really sounds more like pulsating static and a strange whirring accompanied by an eerie, screeching, metallic buzz, like grinding metal. Although this station has been heard by shortwave enthusiasts all over the world for decades, its signal is said to be particularly pronounced in England. It is also rather powerful in the United States, particularly in Florida, suggesting that it is emanating from two separate locations or is utilizing transnational communications technology. Its true purpose and meaning have never been uncovered, and both governments have staunchly denied its existence. The Yosemite Sam transmission. One strange transmission believed to be a number station is definitely known to originate in the United States. Called the Yosemite Sam transmission, it was first picked up in December of 2003 in the vicinity of the Laguna Indian Reservation, which is in the desert Badlands near Albuquerque, New Mexico. Named after the famous American cartoon character, the bizarre broadcast starts with a spooky buzzing noise, and then earns its namesake by featuring a sound clip from a Looney Tunes cartoon from the 1950s called Bunker Hill Bunny, in which Yosemite Sam shouts, "Varmint, I'm gonna blow you to smithereens." The series of buzzes in the sound clip starts precisely 7 seconds after the top of the hour, and is repeated on the frequencies 3700 kHz, 4300 kHz, 6500 kHz, and 10,500 kHz, graduating from one frequency to the next highest, with the entire cycle lasting approximately 2 minutes. No one has ever been able to decipher what it means. It is thought to have been sending out data bursts of encrypted information, its intended audience unknown. What it actually said is anyone's guess, and since its last transmission was in 2004, we will probably never know. The Swedish Rhapsody Station. Another famous number station, and probably the creepiest to listen to, is a bizarre broadcast known as the Swedish Rhapsody Station. Despite the name, this transmission originates in Poland and was first detected in the 1960s. The broadcast begins with several bars of music, which are often described as being from composer Hugo Alfvén's Swedish Rhapsody No. 1, but has been found to actually be from the Luxembourg Polka, composed by Emily Riesdorf, with the section of bars played being identical in both songs. The music is played from a music box, giving it a strange, childish quality, and is repeated over and over again, for approximately 5 minutes, and when it stops, what sounds like a synthesized little girl's voice reads off 3 separate 5-figure numbers, which are repeated 3 times. This is followed by 3 messages, each with a different header, with the first 2 messages being fixed-length messages of 100 5-figure paired groups, and the last being a 50 5-figure paired number, all of which are punctuated with the German word Achtung. This entire transmission lasts 38 minutes and is delivered in that ghostly, childlike, almost unearthly voice, making it rather unnerving, to say the least. Although this was a typical transmission, there was also a variant that occasionally played, in which the music plays 3 times, and there is only a single message which says the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. This is repeated for 5 minutes. From 1988, the broadcast schedule dramatically changed and several other versions began to appear, including an English language version that utilized the same voice. The original broadcast ceased altogether in 1998 and have had people scratching their heads ever since. Mainstream theories suggest that the Polish were perhaps getting help from the CIA in the form of encrypted information sent through the number stations, but what the messages say and why they are delivered with that unsettling, childish voice remain a mystery. The North Korean number station. It is perhaps no surprise that the reclusive nation of North Korea has also long made use of number stations to send encrypted information. In 2016, there was cause for concern when a long inactive number station that had not broadcast since 2000 suddenly jerked to life and went on the air again. The transmission begins with a female's voice calmly saying, "From now on, I will give review work for the subject of mathematics under the curriculum of a remote education university for exploration agents of the 27th Bureau." The voice then goes on to say, "On page 459, question number 35. On page 913, question number 55. On page 135, question number 86. On page 257, question number 2, repeating for approximately 12 minutes. Considering North Korea's aggressive stance, missile testing, calls to use terrorist attacks in South Korea, and general saber-rattling in recent years, the sudden reactivation of this station has caused quite a stir in its southern neighbor, where encryption efforts have been scrambling to try and figure out what the broadcast means and who its intended target is. So far, they have not been able to crack the code. It could be anything from a relatively innocuous simple command to more sinister information, such as intended terrorist assassination or espionage targets for sleeper agents in South Korea, information for missile launches, or even announcements to get ready for war. What is known is that there is definitely some type of information being sent to someone over the station, and the timing of the station's reemergence seems to be rather unsettling and disturbing, to say the least. We might not know what it all means until it's too late. There are many more number stations out there. There's shadowy messages creeping out onto the airwaves to parties unknown. Far too many to go over all of them. I merely touched on some of the more well-known examples. Number stations have attracted a large amount of interest from amateur sleuths with legions of shortwave radio enthusiasts actively trying to track them down, record them, and indeed trying to glean some meaning from their shrouded secrets. Secrets the White Rabbit might know, but can't tell you because you're not ready to accept the truth yet. Number stations and other, less definable, bizarre broadcasts continue to be heard to this day, blasting through the air all around us and keeping their secrets close. Those who tune in to listen have little more than ideas as to what they are than those who remain unaware that these transmissions are swirling about them at this moment. They are a mystery for which we may never have an answer, and the ones sending them likely prefer to keep it that way. Sadly, our time in the tinfoil rabbit hole has come to an end. The White Rabbit hopes you enjoyed your time here and invites you to return and visit with him again in the tinfoil rabbit hole.
Where the hell is Tesla?